All right, let's talk about walls. Specifically, we're going to unpack a whole new way of managing walls in some of the most demanding places out there. Think hospitals, schools, and busy corporate offices. We're going to move past seeing walls as just decoration and start treating them like the high-performance assets they can be.
So let's just kick things off with a question for you. Are your walls actually working as hard as you are? Because in a high traffic, high stakes environment, every single surface ought to be pulling its weight. This is all about transforming those static, boring walls into dynamic, hard-working assets that are actually helping you get things done. But to really get why this new way of thinking is such a big deal, we have to look at what's not working. Let's dive into the common frustrations with traditional wall graphics, specifically the old school vinyl solutions that have been the go-to for way too long. And yeah, this slide pretty much nails the headaches, right? We're all familiar with graphics that start peeling at the corners, bubbling up in the middle, or just getting scuffed to death in busy hallways. And those seams in vinyl wraps, they're not just an eyesore, they trap dirt, which is a major issue in a place like a hospital. Then you add in the disruptive installations, the costly and wasteful removal process, and you've got a system that just wasn't built for the fast-paced world we live in now.
So what's the alternative? What's the move? Well, the expert approach is to treat your wall graphics like any other critical part of your building, focusing on performance, durability, and the total value over its life. And that's where this modern subscription model comes into play. It's really a whole new standard for how to manage your walls.
At the heart of this new standard is this incredible technology called direct-to-wall printing. So instead of slapping on a layer of vinyl with glue, a highly specialized printer puts the graphic right onto the wall itself. The most important thing to get here is that it completely eliminates the biggest points of failure, the seams and the adhesives, right from the very start. And the efficiency here, it is just off the charts. We are talking about a full corridor scale installation being done in under 5 hours. Just think about what that means. In a hospital or a university, that's a massive reduction in downtime. The work can get done overnight, and the space is ready to go by morning. It's a game changer. All right, let's dig into the actual performance benefits, because this is where it gets really good. First, you get this stunning, seamless, photorealistic image that looks like it's part of the wall's architecture. It's tough as nails, durable enough to be cleaned with hospital-grade disinfectants. And when it's time for a change, it's paint over ruddy. No messy, expensive removal, you just paint right over it. It even works on tricky surfaces like brick and concrete block, all while cutting out all that PVC waste. But here's the thing. The tech itself is amazing, but it's only half the story. Where this really gets powerful is how it's strategically applied to fit different environments. This is definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution. So let's take a look at how this model gets tailored for a few key sectors that have some pretty unique demands. Okay, take healthcare. The demands there are, as you know, incredibly high. This approach delivers durable, super cleanable wayfinding that helps patients get around, and you can update it in a flash when a department moves. That seam-free finish, a huge win for infection control. You can even rotate calming, beautiful imagery in patient rooms to help lower anxiety. You're literally turning a wall into part of the healing environment. Now, let's jump over to education. This is where campuses can finally get their physical space in sync with their calendar. Imagine refreshing the welcome walls right before orientation, updating the athletics branding for the big game, or changing out donor recognition walls after a successful campaign, all on a predictable schedule without messing up student life. It's all about keeping that campus feeling alive, vibrant, and totally on brand. And for corporate real estate, this is all about speed and agility. Property managers can refresh lobbies and amenity spaces in just a few hours to keep them looking sharp for leasing tours. You can pivot the whole vibe and branding to attract a different type of tenant, and that paint over ready finish is, again, a massive game changer for simplifying the turnover between tenants. It just keeps properties competitive. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and talk strategy. This is where we build the case that goes way beyond just the initial price tag. This is about making a much smarter long-term investment by looking at the entire life cycle of your wall graphics. And this chart, it just lays it all out crystal clear. But look at that cost model line. You're shifting from these big, unpredictable capital spending spikes for huge projects to a predictable, manageable operating expense. That financial and operational predictability is exactly what facilities and finance leaders are looking for. It becomes a managed service, not just a series of painful construction projects. And this quote right here, it absolutely nails the mindset shift that's needed.
The smartest operators aren't just asking, what's the price per square foot? No, they're modeling the total cost of ownership. They're factoring in the cost of downtime, maintenance, removal, and waste. And when you look at it that way, the value here becomes undeniable.
So, when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway? Well, it really boils down to a fundamental shift, a totally new way of looking at our physical spaces. We just have to start rethinking the role that our walls play. Here's the bottom line. Your walls are no longer just passive, structural things. They can be an active, dynamic tool for communication. They can be an integrated system that helps with wayfinding, that builds your brand, that even improves patient or student well-being. A system that's fast, flexible, and honestly, far more sustainable. So we want to leave you with this one final thought. In a world that's changing faster than ever, your physical space has to be able to keep up. It's really no longer a question of what message your wall sent today, but what message will your wall send tomorrow?